I've been having lots of trouble with getting patient information straight when I write it down. I leave out things patients say that could be possible causes for their problem. I don't get the order of events right. I don't make it clear enough when a patient is experiencing multiple problems at once. I don't make it clear when different problems a patient is having happen on different days. Dr. Myers sits down with me again to talk about my problems with recording patient info accurately.
Jennifer, I think we have an understanding about where you've been going wrong with interpreting my notes about patients.
Good, Doctor. I'll try to do better with that in the future.
We still need to talk about how you record patient information.
Yes, Dr. Myers. I know I've been making some mistakes.
I think you're leaving out too much information. What you record is accurate, but it's not the whole story.
Oh, do you have some examples I can see?
Yes, I have a couple right here.
Dr. Myers first has me read Angela's account of a patient's description of stomach problems. Patient describes feeling horrible shooting pains in his stomach. He has also vomited a lot and had diarrhea in addition to the shooting pains. He recently took a trip into a tropical jungle. He was told to brush his teeth with bottled water, but used tap water instead, and he ate some food in one of the villages that probably was prepared with unsanitized water. As a result, he thinks that's why he's had stomach problems on the trip, but the stomach problems have persisted for 2 weeks after the trip and the patient isn't feeling any better. Then he has me read what I wrote. Patient is sick to his stomach. He feels shooting pains. Patient has vomited and had diarrhea. He's had this trouble since his jungle trip. When I am finished, Dr. Myers asks, "Do you see the problem, Jennifer?" I read each description several times before answering. It bothers me that Angela's seems so much better and complete. It looks like I left out way too much of what the patient said.
Yeah, but we also need to look at what you left out.
Oh, I thought I was keeping things simple by focusing on the main issues.
But Jennifer, you left out important information. For example, you wrote that the patient feels shooting pains, has vomited, and has had diarrhea. But you didn't mention that these problems were all happening at the same time.
Oh, you're right. I didn't make that clear.
And you left out what the patient said about brushing his teeth with tap water and eating food that had possibly been prepared with unsanitized water. The patient even said he thought that's why he had problems on the trip. You didn't think that was relevant?
Well, I thought that you would probably tell the patient what was wrong with him. I thought the patient's opinion didn't matter. He's not a doctor.
Jennifer, patients can be unintentionally misleading. Some patients even lie. And it's true that a patient's uninformed opinion about the cause for a problem he's experiencing can often be wrong. But that doesn't mean information patients give about potential causes for their problems is irrelevant. Knowing that he possibly drank unsanitized water, probably several times, is hugely important to quickly diagnosing his problem.
Oh, I'm sorry, doctor. I'll pay more attention to what the patient says next time.
Jennifer, I think I can help you pinpoint your problems here. Look at Angela's description of the patient's issues again, but notice the words I've circled.
I look at this version of Angela's description of the patient's problems. Patient describes feeling horrible shooting pains in his stomach. He has also vomited a lot and had diarrhea in addition to the shooting pains. He recently took a trip into a tropical jungle. He was told to brush his teeth with bottled water, but used tap water instead, and he ate some food in one of the villages that probably was prepared with unsanitized water. As a result, he thinks that's why he had stomach problems on the trip. But the stomach problems have persisted for 2 weeks after the trip, and the patient isn't feeling any better. I see that Dr. Myers has circled several words in this version, and there is a pattern. I tell Dr. Myers that it looks like Angela has used several words to clarify when the patient's problems happened and what might have caused those problems to happen in the first place. I also recognize the words Dr. Myers has circled. They're signal words. I learned about these in school. Writers use signal words to connect ideas and sometimes change the direction of their thoughts. Because these words appear so often in writing to make these connections, they act like signposts to clue me into what the writer is doing or where the writer is going. The signal words in Angela's paragraph show addition, sequence, or cause and effect. A couple of these words, also, in addition, show that the patient is adding new symptoms, the vomiting and diarrhea, to the first symptom, shooting pains. These words show addition. The coordinating conjunction and can be this kind of signal word, but there are many others. When a writer uses this kind of signal word, it is to add more information that relates to what he has already given. The words recently and after show sequence or time. This means that they show when things happened, which is time, or what order they appeared in, which is sequence. The information that the jungle trip was recent is important. So is the information that the problems have lasted for 2 weeks after the trip was over. Recently and after are just 2 examples of this kind of signal word. There are lots of other such words. The words as a result point to a cause and effect relationship, or the reason something happened. The patient believes his stomach problems are a result of using and possibly taking in unclean water. He thinks contact with unsanitized water is the reason he is having stomach issues. The coordinating conjunction so can be this kind of signal word, but there are many others. Dr. Myers shows me another example. First, he shows me Angela's account of a patient's problems. First, the patient had a headache that lasted all day, and then the patient felt nausea along with the headache, but then the nausea and headache went away. The patient now has no energy at all and is having trouble eating. For example, it makes the patient feel sick to even look at food. Even though she has no energy, she nevertheless has had trouble sleeping. Likewise, the patient has trouble concentrating. I see Dr. Myers has gone ahead and circled words he thinks are important in Angela's description. Then he shows me what I wrote. Patient has headaches that last all day. Patient also has nausea and trouble eating. Patient has no energy. Looking at food makes the patient feel sick. Patient can't sleep or concentrate. Once again, it bugs me that Angela's description seems so much better and more detailed than mine. There are signal words all over the place here. Some of these are kinds of signal words I've seen already. Others are new kinds that Angela didn't use in the first paragraph of hers I read. The words first, then, and now all show time and sequence, or when things happened. The word and is another addition signal word. It shows that, in addition to having no energy, the patient also has trouble eating. The words for example show that Angela is giving an example of the patient's trouble eating. Words like this alert me that the writer is going to illustrate a point in some way. The word likewise points to a comparison. Words that signal comparisons show how things are alike. Just as the patient is having trouble sleeping, the patient is having trouble concentrating as well. The words even though and nevertheless point to contrasts. Contrasts show how things are different. The patient having no energy might make you think that sleep would be easy. However, the patient is having trouble sleeping too. I tell Dr. Myers that once again it looks like Angela has provided a lot more information than me. She's also used a lot of words to help clarify what the patient is feeling and when the patient is feeling it.
Do you think you know what the problems are here?
Yes, I think so. I need to not just list the problems the patient has had. In my description, I didn't show that the headache came first, and then the nausea with the headache, and then no more headache and nausea, but a lack of energy and difficulty eating or sleeping.
Right. You need to show when things happened, whether they happened together at the same time or separately from one after another.
I also need to show when there are similarities between different problems a patient is having and when there are differences.
That would be good too. I think you're getting it, Jennifer. Whether you become a nurse or a medical assistant, you need to be able to remember and describe what a patient tells you without leaving out anything vital. It's very important information to record accurately and completely.
Yes, Dr. Myers. Just after I finish talking to Dr. Myers, Angela catches me in the hallway. I'm going to have to put a bell around her neck.
So, Jennifer, are you causing more trouble for poor Dr. Myers again?
Dr. Myers is trying to help me understand how to do a better job.
I don't know why he bothers.
He sees potential in me.
I just see someone who needs to be in an easier line of work. You ever try fast food?
Very funny. I'm going to do better, Angela. You'll see.
If you say so, Jennifer. I think I've seen everything from you I want to.
Nice work. You've completed this section. You can move on to the next section.